Alright, so make sure you guys take notes. It's not going to be super tough today. We're just a few formulas mostly.
Formulas?
So, not really formulas, but...
Hey, I need a pencil.
Yeah, don't you got a pencil?
Where's my bag?
Why you got a pencil?
That's like one of the black guys.
Alright, so today...
Today.
we're going to look at some special triangles. So, last lesson we did Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared equals c squared, right? No. We're going to look at some special triangles today, two special triangles. Okay, we're going to look at a 45, 45, 90 triangle. And it's called that way because those are the three angles. I got a 45, and a 90. So, that is a special triangle, and there are two parts to it. In a 45, 45, 90, both legs are congruent. And the length of the hypotenuse is the square root of 2 times the length of a leg. So in other words, your hypotenuse equals the square root of 2 times a leg. So 45, 45, 90 are pretty easy. So if I'm going to look at this triangle right here, I got 45, 45, 90. My legs are equal, right?
No.
So this leg and this leg are going to be equal. So A is going to be 5. And C, my longest side here, is going to equal one of the sides times the square root of 2. Which, they're both 5, right? So it's going to be 5. And then I'm going to be lazy. So I'm just going to say 5 times the square root of 2. I'm going to leave it like this. And we read this as 5 square root of 2, or sometimes even just 5 root 2. You don't need the square root all the time. You can just say root. And that's it. You don't really need to do anything. You could use Pythagorean theorem, but it's kind of annoying sometimes. To have to go through the whole thing and you square them all and solve. This is easier.
Solve it, right?
Yep, that's it.
Wow.
So you could multiply this out and get a decimal, but you don't need to. You can just leave it like this and you're good. So it's easy.
So far.
Yep. So let's do a couple of these together. Alright, if I'm going to look at this top left triangle right here, I have my two legs are both going to be the same, right? But I'm just going to find the missing variable. H is my hypotenuse. It's going to equal 9 times the square root of 2. And I don't need to do anything else. I'm just going to leave it like that.
What the heck?
That's it. That's all we need. Because that's the relationship between them. We could do a proof, but I don't like doing that.
Okay.
Just trust me. If you don't believe me, you can Google it, and it'll come up with a big proof, and I'll have to explain it because it's kind of a pain. Alright, this one on the bottom left, it's pretty much the same thing, but a little different.
It's the opposite.
So, on this one, we don't have one of the legs, right? But we have the hypotenuse. But the hypotenuse is going to equal a leg times the square root of 2, right? Just like we did last time. We can solve this for x. So I'm just going to rewrite it so it's easier to see. My hypotenuse is going to equal a leg, which I don't know what it is, but I'm going to call it x, because that's the variable right there. It's going to equal x times the square root of 2. How do I get rid of this times the square root of 2?
Square root 6.
Nice idea, Joseph, but we can make it even easier. It's a good idea, though.
Divide.
That's a times square root of 2, right? I'm just going to divide square root of 2
Told
on
you.
both sides.
Told you. Divide.
And I'm going to be lazy still. And I'm going to say, you know what, that's a decimal. I'm going to just go 6 divided by square root of 2. I'm not going to leave it like that. It's going to equal x. Hang on. Let me write that so it's easier to read. It's kind of a tiny square root. Let me just move this over a little bit.
Wait, what?
Hang on. I'm just rewriting it so it's easier to read. Alright, so I'm dividing by square root of 2, right? I'm going to be lazy. I'm just going to say 6 divided by the square root of 2 equals x. Because we divided by square root of 2 here, right? Divide by square root of 2. I'm just going to leave it. You could plug that into Desmos and get a decimal, but let's be lazy and not do that. And that's it for that. Alright, first two in-class problems. I want you to find h on this triangle on the right and x on this triangle on the bottom right. Find x, find h. And you don't need to give me decimals. You can just leave it as a fraction or with your square root inside there. That's all you need.
Wait, so is this the answer?
Uh-huh.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Right.
E, as Linda would say.
You know Linda Thompson, right?
Yes,
Just making sure you understood the reference.
I
I think
did.
everybody understands.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure, but you never know.
And you
I think she hasn't aged.
No.
Yeah, Wow.
too.
Aged in like 10 years. dude, I
Yeah.
swear.
Yeah, seems about right. I've known her for 5 years and she hasn't changed. Alright, I'll give you another minute.
She's not as bad as Miss Lady, though.
Miss Levy? Is she still?
She looks the exact
I
same.
haven't seen her in a while.
Miss Levy?
Yeah.
She looks the exact
She still wears like the same clothes too.
Like my mom
like
said
the
she wears the
matching
same
clothes
clothes
and
she wears in
everything. Kindergarten. Whoopi Goldberg had 3 spouses.
Okay, you from Oregon?
I grew up in Hermiston.
It's terrible.
Ryan knows all about it. What are you talking
It's
about?
terrible.
How does Ryan
You mean
know?
Tyler?
Oh, Tyler.
I don't know him that much.
Oh yeah, because Tyler Googled me.
Googled you and
It was
everything.
weird.
In class too.
I actually have a picture of you.
What?
On the ostrich.
No, he said, you said something about your crepey food or something. You're like,
Stop Googling me. You guys are weird. Change my Facebook.
you were eating your crepe.
Alright, Lark. How do I solve for the first one? For H?
Me?
Yes.
H equals 3 squared, or root 2.
So that's just going to equal one of the legs times the square root of 2, and we can leave it like that.
Wait, Whoopi Goldberg doesn't have eyebrows?
Really?
Curious.
Get off the Google. And how am I gonna find this one, Chloe? How am I gonna find X?
Make it equal to x times square root of 2.
What?
No?
What?
No?
8
Okay.
equals x
Oh, maybe
Okay,
yeah.
yeah. X, then keep going.
square root of 2.
Yeah. Alright, how do I solve it for X?
Divided by 2. Square root of 2.
There we go.
No.
So we're gonna divide it by square root of 2 everywhere. And we're gonna be, that's a weird square root, but I'm gonna leave it. We're gonna leave it as 8 divided by square root of 2, be lazy, not do any decimals. That's equal X.
So close.
Dang.
You need to make that. That's
She did
bad.
not Google random crap during my lessons.
Sorry.
What is the square root?
I was looking up.
I don't know what's a decimal.
One.
I just typed W.
1.25.
I was typing W.
Alright, so that is our
Yeah.
first special triangle. Our second one is a little
X equals
tougher,
10.
but not very hard. What?
So X equals 10.
1.14.
No.
You sure?
8 divided by the square root of 2 is not 10.
Oh, okay.
Nice try.
5.6.
Wait, no, undivided. What did I do? I add?
Yeah, it does. No, it's something.
Oh, yeah.
Alright,
Mm,
so our second triangle
it
is
would
going to be
5 points.
a 30, 60, 90 triangle. So in this triangle,
What do you want to show you?
I have a 30 degree, a 60 degree, and a 90 degree angle.
No, we don't.
So, there are special rules with this, just like with 45, 45, 90. So, in 30, 60, 90, everything hinges on the bottom side. In 30, 60, 90, the hypotenuse equals the bottom side times 2, and the middle side equals the bottom side times square root of 3. The hypotenuse equals 2 times the smallest side or the shorter leg. You know what, actually, let's make it easier to remember, and let's just call it times small. Times the small side. And then your middle is going to equal square root of 3 times, I'm going to change that to small also. Make it easier to understand. So your hypotenuse equals 2 times the smallest side, your middle equals square root of 3 times the smallest side. And you need something, Kayla?
Do you have a calculator I can borrow?
On the bed.
TT. Chill.
Not that one, the one on the right.
It should be a
Mine
no
is
because we
one.
use Desmos.
Keep going right there.
Okay, thank you.
Alright, so if I'm going to look at this 30, 60, 90 triangle down here, my hypotenuse, right here is side F, it's going to equal 2 times my smallest, which is 3, right? which is just 6. My middle is going to equal the square root of 3 times my small side, which is 3, which we're going to just flip it around and write it just like we did. I'm just going to go 3 root 3. We could plug it in and get a decimal, but let's be lazy and not. Let's not. And that's it. That's all you have to do. Pretty much very similar to 45, 45, 90. They're just a couple different rules. Alright, so we're going to practice this a little bit. But let's start. On this one, I have the side length of 12, but what side is this?
The hypotenuse.
It's my hypotenuse, right? Remember, everything hinges on my small side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say my hypotenuse is going to equal 2 times my smallest side, which is y. If you don't have the small side, get the small side. Because everything hinges on small.
Oh, sure, it gotta be 6.
Which is going to be 6, right? We divide by 2 on both sides. And we get 6 equals y, y equals 6. Okay. Hang on, that looks terrible. Let me try that again.
It looked fine.
It was bad, Mark.
It was bad, Mark.
Either.
There you go, that's better. I get 6 equals y. Alright, I can just put 6 right here just so I can visualize it better. Alright, and then my middle side
Wouldn't that
is
be,
going to equal small times the square root of 3.
so x square root 3.
6 times the square root of 3.
Oh, yeah,
X
that,
equals
yeah,
6
yeah,
times square
yeah,
root.
yeah.
And that's it. We're not going to simplify it, we're going to be lazy.
He knew what I mean.
He knew what I mean.
Yeah, he knew what I mean.
We're going to be lazy, just leave it like that.
Cool.
Laziness.
Alright, the next one real quick is really similar, right? What is 6? Is it my small, my middle, or my hypotenuse?
Hypotenuse.
Hypotenuse, right? So that's going to equal 2 times my small side, which is a. Solve it real quick, and we get 3 equals a. Alright, so that's 3, right? And then my middle is going to equal my small times the square root of 3. I don't need to even do anything after that. Wait, is this exactly the same as that first one we did?
Yes.
Lame. Alright. I have to put it in a note. Can't. Alright, now next time, nobody else gets a repeat. Alright, you're up. Actually, don't I have you guys do this one, or do I want to talk about it? You know what, let's talk about it. Let's actually talk about this. Okay, on this one, we're not going to do this as an in class yet. We'll do another one as an in class real quick. In just a minute. Alright, on this triangle, what side do we have?
24.
Is that the small, middle, or hypotenuse?
Middle.
I agree, it doesn't matter. Get. Get.
Oh, I see. Hold on.
No, say it out loud. No, louder, so my microphone picks it up.
So it's like,
Okay.
5, 6. I don't know.
Okay.
Alright, what was side 24 here? Small, middle, or hypotenuse?
Middle.
Middle.
Middle, right? Okay. So I want to go from middle to my smallest, because I always want to get smallest. So my middle is going to equal my smallest times the square root of 3, right? Okay? So how am I going to solve it for my smallest side here?
Oh, divide by
24, x equals 24 divided by square root of 3.
We're going to divide by square root of 3. We're going to divide by square root of 3 to get the x by itself. So x is going to equal 24 divided by square root of 3. Okay? How do I go from my small to my biggest side, to my hypotenuse?
Times by something.
Yep. What are we timing it by?
2.
2. My y, my hypotenuse, is going to equal 2 times my smallest side. And my smallest side is, nope, wrong thing to start with. It's not 42, it's 24. So it's going to be 2 times 24 divided by square root of 3. We'll see how many people remember fractions. If I'm going to multiply these together, what am I multiplying? Like, what 2 numbers am I actually going to multiply together?
The top one?
Just the top ones. 2 times 24 is 48, right?
Yeah.
48 over square root of 3. For my final answer.
Dang, that took a while.
So honestly, the hardest ones are going from, on a 30, 60, 90, going from middle and finding the rest, because you've got a bunch of square root of 3s everywhere. They're not super tough, they're just kind of annoying. Alright, you guys want to try one of these on your own?
No.
No.
Sure.
No.
Haters.
Alright, do you guys take it then?
Thank
You
you.
nerds.
Oh.
And I'll turn on Scrative, and then you guys can start on your homework. You guys have lots of time today.
I wish we always had lots of time.
I don't.
Just make up one.
I get bored.
Yeah, that's because you
You
do
want
like
outside?
2 minutes
Oh,
a day.
because all you can do is find X. Oh, yeah, you don't. You
Some
don't
people
find
of us
X.
actually have to try.
Mick just like looks at it and just like answer.
Lame.
Yeah, lame.
Did I tell you about 2 shots today, 1 in each arm? This one's like really sore. I can't like lift it.
Too much is just.
Which shots did you get?
I don't even know what they're called.
Oh, yeah.
They're like the one when you get 16. Then there's the other one when you're like.
I haven't got shots in like 4
But
years.
they're not flu shots. They're like different.
7.
Just like the
square
booster.
root of 2,
Yeah,
Vaccine
yeah,
things.
that's actually what it is.
We know. My parents don't let us